Right. Well, happy Monday, the second Monday in November. I'm very excited. We have a special speaker. Maddie and I met through Arizona Market Council a couple years ago, and we just clicked. And she already locked in five-star elite for 2021. She was a premier 2020 coach and has been a coach for 3 years. She started coaching in her busiest time of life of trying to do college and sports and all of the things. And now she moved to Arizona, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit. But I'm really excited because she's really great at all things social media and getting that hype and all of the things. So I thought, let's have her get on and share with us her tips and tricks. So, Maddie, all for you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, so I'm going to share a lot about social media tonight and just kind of ways to like revamp a little bit, kind of get uncomfortable. I know a lot of people just aren't used to that. Whereas like I started this business when I was 20 years old as a full-time college student, playing college volleyball. And I didn't have a lot of time, but like I've literally had Instagram since like 8th grade. Like I grew up on Instagram, so it comes so easily. And I understand how it can be kind of unnatural for a lot of people. Whereas like Facebook is not my jam. Like I can do Facebook, but it's just not where I find my audience, and I just don't have as much fun. So I'm going to teach you some simple ways that I've taught a lot of my uplines team, because I'm a part of Diesel Nation, where there's a lot more people probably your guys' age than my 20-year-old self. And so it might be a little bit easier. But yeah, I kind of didn't have a fast success in this business. It took me a while. It took me 3 months to help anyone. So if you're there and you're like, I haven't had a ton of success, or I'm not going super fast, don't count yourself out. Like, be here for the long haul. I had no expectations of myself. I just like showed up every single day because I fell in love with the process. And so I'll have a little bit of time at the end if you guys have any questions for me or like anything. But I think a lot of people always ask, like every single call I'm on, they always ask, how do you find business builders? And for me, the number one way is to get results first, because that's how I got started. I didn't get started because I wanted a ton of money. I didn't get started because the business opportunity. I would never have signed up with my coach if it was because of that, because she's non-existent. I just wanted to be healthy and fit and fall in love with the process and find myself again. And that's the community that she had. So I find that the way that you got started is the way that you're going to find your business builders. There's no secret button. There's no something that nobody else has talked about. It's not ads. It's not all these different things. It's finding what works for you and what made you bleed Beachbody blue and fall in love with this business so many years into it. But I'm going to share my screen and kind of, can you make me the host so I can share my screen? And kind of just go over some social media fun things with you guys. But I'll keep the chat box open. And then, okay, perfect. So I think the number one thing when it comes to social media is just treating it like your storefront, because truly that's what it is. When people come to your social media, what they see is all the pictures and stuff. Hi, dude. My little puppy is like a toddler. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate, but the last call I was on was just like being annoying the whole time. But it is like your storefront. So I think there's no right or wrong way to do it, but it has to feel good to you. It has to show your face. It has to be bright and inviting, but make it yourself. And so there's 3 main ways on your Instagram feed to make it you and for people to come to your page and really see you, not just a bunch of photos and long paragraphs. And that's IGTVs, which aren't like the end all be all right now. It's really focused on reels, which is this middle section right here. And then your photos. So IGTVs are great if you're doing a live video or you're teaching someone how to cook a recipe and it's a longer video. So like up to 10 minutes. I do a lot. My background's in exercise science, and so I'm going into PT school. And so my background is a lot of like videos on how somebody that sits in a chair all day, how to open up your iliopsoas and like stuff like that. And I get a lot of views on that because that relates to my audience. And those are IGTVs that I would do. Or how to do at-home lash extensions. Over 1,000 people viewed that video. because that spoke to my audience who had lash extensions, right? And so these are different videos that are a little bit longer, but show my brand and show kind of who I am. When it comes to reels, which everybody wants to know, like, what do I have to do reels? I don't want to just dance. I don't want to be this TikTok mom. Like, that's not me. And that's not what it has to be. I think so often we feel like we see TikTok and like maybe like what our kids are doing or what these teenagers are doing. But when it comes to our Beachbody business, you can use reels in so many different ways about talking about the business opportunity by doing like, you know, how you like point to different things. Or you can talk about how where you were in the beginning to where you are now and mindset. It doesn't have to be you talking, but it can just be a transformation. The thing with reels is that it has to be quick and effective. And I think so often people try and put like words at the very top and the very bottom, and then when you share it, it cuts it off. That's a tip. Try and keep it in the middle section, because as you can see, like, I can't really tell on this one, but sometimes these words will get cut off and then people don't see your reel. But finding things that are fun and engaging, like, so when I'm going through and I see a reel from somebody else that I loved, it's okay to remake that in your own words. Your audience might not be following that person, or, you know, with your own face is what I meant to say. But what I like to do is like, there's a 3 little dots at the bottom of a reel, and I'll just click that and I'll save it so that I can come back to that. So when I have time, or like on a Sunday when I'm trying to prep what I want to post for the week, because I don't have a ton of time during the week to like really think of this methodical post, I have these ideas. My content's kind of planned out, not to a T, but I have ideas of what I want to post about. I can go back to those reels and be like, oh yeah, that was a good one. Or I can make it ahead of time because I have makeup on for some reason on a Sunday and my hair's done, and I can make it and then repost it during the week when I don't have a bunch of time. So that's like a tip that I do just to kind of keep my Instagram engaging and different. But also, it's so important that it goes to your brand. When I come to your page, I want to know what you're about in the first, 9 photos. I don't want to have to scroll and be like, is she a Beachbody coach or is she on a fitness transformation? Like, I should come to your page and see a transformation photo like right at the top. I don't know why. Right here. I was like, why don't I have one? I'm like, that's a bad example. But this one was a photo, like a face by face photo, but some type of transformation when they first come to your page. And it's okay to continue to use the same transformation photos. But if you're using transformation photos from 3 years ago, dial it in, right? Like, where are you on your journey? Maybe it's kind of like a kick in the pants. Like, I need to get my nutrition in check, or I really need to actually commit to a program because I'm using a transformation photo of the first program I ever did in Beachbody 3 years ago. I sometimes have to check myself where I'm like, okay, if I'm still using this photo, what am I doing right now? And sometimes that leaves clues to like maybe our success club points, or maybe how many people we've signed up, because we're not all in on our journey. And that's always been what I led with, because that's what's gotten me the best results. But again, with our brand, like, I have a puppy, I have a boyfriend, I love fitness, I love tacos. Like, I show all different aspects of my brand when you first come to my page. It's not just selfie, 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 and then there's huge paragraph of motivation of what I'm going to tell you about why you need to do this. And I think those are the ones that get scrolled past. So it's so awesome that we get this opportunity to have a storefront of bright, colorful photos that are engaging. And the cool thing too with reels is that you can use a photo that goes along with your aesthetic, which I'm going to kind of talk about when it shows up in your feed. But when you press play, it goes into your reel. So you can add those in. And I would say at least like 2 to 3 a week is kind of where the sweet spot is, that a lot of people are seeing success, because Instagram, again, is pushing these out because it's a new feature that they want people to use. So we're going to kind of go through some people's Instagrams that I have seen on my page. And I want you guys to open up the chat and let me know, like, do you think this is good? What do you think could be better? What do you think this person needs to work on? Just so I understand that you guys are kind of getting where I'm coming from when it says talk about your brand. Okay. So let's like take a look. Do we feel like this is good? This is bad? What do you think I might say that needs to be improved? What do you think that needs to be improved? We're going to go through just a couple of them. Yep. Exactly. When I look at her page, I'm like, great, it's beautiful. Like you can see her face, it's bright, but it's the same exact pose. It's the same exact thing, every single photo. And though maybe her captions are really engaging, if I was her, I'd want to know a little bit more about her brand. What else does she have? What else does she like to do? What else is she into fitness? Where's her transformation? I think it might be over here, but I would like to see more of like variety rather than just a sweaty selfie every single day. Okay. Yeah. All I see is fitness and you don't really know what she's about. Maybe she doesn't focus on nutrition and that's something you need. You got to relate to that audience. Okay. This next one. What do we feel like about this one? There's no like right or wrong to it. I'm not gonna be like, no, this is bad or this is good. She loves her dog. I mean, that was a cute ass dog. Yeah, I think honestly, this is not a bad Instagram. If this is where you're at and you don't look like a fashion blogger, that's okay. Like you don't have to be picture perfect. But again, I honestly, this is a great starting spot for someone. Like you see a transformation photo, you see her brand, you see that she's into fitness, you see a funny quote that she's going to get engagement on. I think so often we feel like it has to be so perfect that you're not going to relate to that hot mess mama or that girl that's running from class to class trying to get all these things done. You're never going to relate to those people if you're trying to be perfect. So I think this is a great starting spot. I also think she could, like this photo, I don't necessarily wouldn't have used because most of the photo is a mirror of a car and you can barely see them. That would be like my only criticism. But I think other than that, like she's definitely showing different aspects of her. All right, let's take a look. I think this is the last one. And you guys might know Ashley Phil Dyson. But I just took some different ideas. Yeah, great variety, fitness, fun, bright, super fun. I think it's so cool to see that, yes, you can tell that she's a Beachbody coach, especially when you see 80-Day Obsession or P90X. You can see a transformation, but she has a reel on how to make dried flowers. That has nothing to do with Beachbody, but it has everything to do with Ashley and her brand. You can see that she's having fun with girlfriends and she's eating crab and she's having cake. Like you can have all this different variety. To me, this is like, I want to know what she's doing because she looks like she's living her best life, right? I think it's so cool to see a variety of what's going on. And I think I'm like drilling that home, but it's the variety of not just posting about Beachbody. It's not just posting about your fitness because that's one of your 5 pillars of things that make you you. And you can't just hone in on that one thing. Otherwise, people are going to be like, all right, scroll past. I'm sure she's going to be saying the same exact thing. And we want them to stop and be like, I want to watch that reel on repeat. What is it that she's making? That meal looks so good and that looks so simple. I can make that for my family. Those types of things. So how do we get this kind of look on our page? I think number one is just having good lighting and a tripod. A tripod costs maybe $10 on Amazon. You can Amazon Prime it to your house tonight if you don't have one. But number one, it makes your videos for your workouts that you're posting on your stories every day amazing and like a good angle and you feel comfortable and you can move it around and find the lighting in your house so that it's not like this dark dungeon. You're like, where are you working out? Like in a prison cell? Like what's going on? Like they can see who you are when you're working out. But go find a window. Like I have terrible lighting on this video right now. I'm like using this one lamp because if I have the windows open, my dog starts barking at people across the street. So I had to like close it off. But go find a window, go outside, go find something that's going to brighten it up. That way, when you go to Lightroom to put your filter on your page, because that's where you use like your preset, then it doesn't make it super orange or super dark. And your preset's going to work so much better when there's good lighting on your photos. So that's number one. Again, then number two is just Lightroom. Lightroom is a free app. If you've never used it before, it's just like the LR on the App Store. But this is how you get one filter onto all of your photos. I use it every single day. And if I'm like on an airplane, which is kind of hard right now with COVID, it's a bad example, but if I'm on a road trip or whatever I'm doing, I'll just put my preset on a bunch of photos at one time, so that again, during the week when I'm busy and I don't have time to go look decent and take a photo, or maybe I just don't have any photos that go with that caption or the thought in my mind, I can go and reuse a photo that I've used before, or I can use a photo that's from a few days ago. It doesn't have to be right here, right now. This photo has to be used, okay? And then the third one tool that I love is the app Preview. Again, it's the free app, but it just makes sure that like you can put your photo that you're about to post next to the other photos in your grid and see that it like is showing the variety. So if you put it there and you're like, oh wait, I just did that same pose, like that girl, the first one yesterday, maybe I should wait on that photo and find something else that makes my page a variety of different engaging content. So I love to be able to have a plan, because if you're not planning, you're already a step behind. And this business is always forward moving. We always have to be one step in front of the other. And if we're just kind of winging it, our audience is going to be winging it and they have no idea what's coming next, which is not a great thing. Like, you want them to know what they're getting into when they come to your page. So with Lightroom, again, if you've never used it, I like to get my presets. Like, I had someone, like a local friend who was making them, I bought from her, but you can get them on Etsy. They're super cheap. It's so easy to use. Most of the time they give you good instructions. There's some sketchy ones out there that don't give you good instructions. But I made an entire video on how to do this, so I can share that with you too. But it's literally a click of a button. Like, all you do is click this preset button, you click your preset, and it just lightens the photo up. It just makes you go from like this sweaty mess to like a less sweaty mess and like a more aesthetically pleasing photo. It's so important just to have one filter. My sister works for head of social media at Hulu, and she always was like, you need to get a filter. You need to go make your page look decent, because I was like orange and dark and light and so much different stuff going on. And even though they were good photos, none of it made sense. And with Instagram, it's such an app that is like all about what the first photo looks like. And if your photo's not engaging, they're not going to continue to read. And so that was like the biggest thing for me, is finding something that I could make it easy to continue to post on my page. Okay, let's talk about Instagram stories now, right? So Instagram stories are the day-to-day, the morning routine, how this fits into your life, the mess, like the hot mess express that's coming in to your page, right? So this is like your workout, your sales slides or graphics or funny memes going on. Also, like if you have deals, like if you went to TJ Maxx and you got these amazing boots, like that's where you're going to want to show those, right? You're not going to post that on your main feed, but that's something that you can share to get people to watch your stories. But I think something that a lot of people make the mistake of is when they go to talk on their Instagram stories, one, they don't put like a caption of like what they're talking about. And there's like, you can probably poll your audience, but about 70% of people watch Instagram stories without the sound on. So if you like, raise your hand if you've done that. Like, I have definitely, yeah, like I'm just like, okay, I'm clicking through if this is something interesting or not. So if you put what's going on in a little caption, it's super simple. And I just learned this, but the little microphone button, you can voice text what you want your caption to be, and it'll just put it on there. So you can just like talk slowly, like, I have a sale going on right now, comma, that it's $140, comma, join now, or whatever, you know, whatever you want to say. And it'll look like your photo's frozen, but if you click to the next slide, it'll totally be fine. Someone like freaked out and like, I ruined all my stories. Like, it'll be okay. But that can save you time when you're like in the carpool line, you know, you recorded these stories, your kid's coming, you just press record, talk over it, save it, and then go on to the next one. My second tip when it comes to talking about what's going on your stories is keep it to 4 clips. If you're going 4, 8, 12 clips of talking about the sale or talking about something, you're rambling and you're losing people. Every single story, you can see it. You can see the insights of who's continuing to click, who's exiting out, or who's just like, bye, right? And we want them to just be engaged for those 4 clips. People think in 15-second increments. A minute is like the max that you're gonna get someone. So if you're recording and you don't get it in those 4 videos, I would encourage you just to exit out and try again. because most of the time we're using filler words, you're using like, all those things that make it longer than we need to. So sometimes you just have to start over and like, okay, I'm going to make this precise and get my point across so that that busy mama just gets to watch it and is on with her day. So I encourage you to try and do that. But my favorite apps when I use on my Instagram stories is Splice. Splice I use for my workout videos. So like when I'm doing my workout, I'll just like press record, have a bunch of longer clips, and then I just upload them to Splice, shorten them. You can make it a little bit faster, easy transitions, and then I'll just put that on my story. It doesn't take a long time. The app Mojo, a lot of people ask me about, like, it has like an Instagram, it looks like a phone, and I'll just screen record like what my challenge group looks like or people checking in, and it'll just have me like scrolling through them, and it gives people like that backside look of what a challenge group looks like. Some people don't know what that means, or like, what does accountability boot camp really look like? And if you're getting money objections, oftentimes it's because people don't understand the actual value of what we have. So if you're showing how to press play on Beachbody On Demand, or if you're showing what your accountability group looks like, you're giving them that backside look. And so I use the app Mojo because it kind of mixes up their feed. It looks different. It's not just on the, like, I don't know, I guess I could show you guys a thing if I'm not making any sense. But that way it kind of mixes things up and it doesn't look like the same old. So this is what I was talking about. But like, you can see that it looks like a phone screen, and it just like gets people's attention because it's not just like an Instagram story. So the app Mojo, there's a free version, then there's a paid version. I think it's like $4.99 forever, and I think it's worth it. I think when people don't see the same thing every single day, they're more often to be like, oh, what app is that? Or what are you doing? Or what is this? And you want them to engage and reply back to your stories. And then the last app I use for my Instagram stories is Unfold, which has been around for a while. But if I'm doing like kind of where my journey started and where I've gone with coaching and how I have this group, it's an easy way to like tell a story on Unfold. And when you're creating them, it just slides by. It's way more user-friendly than Canva on your phone. So like if I have time, I'll just sit there and make them, and then I can reuse them by just adding newer photos in them. So I've been using the same ones since I started in 2018 because I just changed the photos out, and it makes my life a lot easier. But again, stories is just the messy action. It's just the behind the scenes, what's going on, get your point across, what people are tagging you and stuff and sharing them. And then your feed is like your storefront. Okay. And then another question is on social media, how to add to your market. I think so often we are so worried about the number of followers we have versus the ratio of how many we're following because people have told us this matters. But at the end of the day, who cares if you have no one that's signing up and no one engaging back with you? You have to go find the other people like you. So stop worrying about all that and just go follow more people. I follow 200 to 500 people a day. And that might sound like real crazy. Oh crap. Okay, I have 10 minutes. I'll make it faster. But that might sound crazy, 200 to 500 a day, but I do 50 at a time. I just count to 50. I follow 50 people and then I go and do something else. I'll go to the bathroom, send 50 or like follow 50 people and then go do something else. It doesn't have to be all at one time. But I get these people from following, like, so if someone's following my page or someone just liked my photo and they're not a challenger or they're not one of my coaches, I'll go to who liked their photo and follow 50 people really quickly. That way we have like this once removed friend. They're not like this random creepy stranger on the internet coming in hot. And then we have something in common. Maybe their friend has done one of my programs and they'll talk highly of it because we want recommendations. But that's how I'm following the people that I'm adding and inviting to. Again, stop worrying about that number, the ratio. Honestly, like I'll just unfollow when I have time, but it's not the biggest deal because work on just serving your audience. Give them what they want to see. Ask questions, ask polls, but if you're working on your storefront every day, you don't have to worry about the number because they're going to come because they see all the value that you're adding on a daily basis. And at the end of the day, just like continue to produce good content. If you don't have something valuable, educational, or inspiring to post that day, don't just post to post. I think the sweet number is 5 to 7 times a week. I think 5 is plenty if you're posting good, valuable stuff. So if you miss a day here and there, it's not the end of the world, but make sure that you're still posting on your stories. Just because you don't have a post doesn't mean you get to be MIA and like off the face of the earth. Like one boomerang is not going to cut it. Like it has to be consistent. They have to continue to build that trust that you're going to be there forever and ever and ever, especially once they sign up. They don't want you to just to be off in planet Earth, okay? But again, focus on what you can control. You can't control if they sign up, right? You cannot control if they decide to do this, but you can control the message and the light that you share on a daily basis. You can control what they get to see. And if there's so much negativity on the internet, and it may be a little bit better now that the election's done, but who knows? Like, who knows what's going to happen the rest of 2020? We can't predict that, but you can predict what gets shared on your page and the light that you continue to show up. So I think it's just super important to be just connecting and engaging and just being a human. Be the kind human that you are, because you're going to attract that other person like you. When it comes to connecting, I like 3 of those people's photos that I just followed, and then I just genuinely comment on one. And so even if my comment's like, oh my gosh, you're so gorgeous, or whatever it is, like some people are like, oh, it has to ask a question. But like sometimes I don't want to ask a question, right? Like there's no right or wrong way to do this. It has to feel good to you or you won't continue to do it. I have more on here, but I don't want to like take too much if you guys have questions, but I'll go through this really quickly. It's just honestly the invite. Once they follow me back, like I'm saying, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Where are you from? Just so I can kind of get them to talk to me. I used to say like, are you on a health and fitness journey? But I feel like that made people run away because they're like, oh my God, she's going to try and sell me something right now. Or like, I'm already on a journey, don't talk to me type of thing. So I just like to get the connection. Like, where are you from? Oh my God, we're from the same hometown. That's awesome. Da, 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 da. I usually invite around usually, I don't know, it depends on the person, but about a week into watching my story, if they're consistently watching it every day, I'll send them an invite. If you guys want to take a picture of the screen, you can, because I'm not going to read all these invites that I do, but I'm inviting them within like a week of them watching and being on my page. If they're following me, they're liking my stuff, or watching my story, it's not a cold invite. I'm going to send them an invite because they're on my page and I want to serve them. And I know that this changed my life, so I want to change theirs as well. And then I'll follow up with them. If maybe you missed my message, like I'm prepping for my group, let me see if this can work for you. And then just continuing the conversation. Like if they're like, I want to try it, I use Flowdesk. I just send them sample workouts. I think that's the best way. My people like to try it out before they buy. And then if they ghost you, following up again, like I will continuously invite someone every single month. If I invited them on October 1st, I'm inviting them on November 1st. Like I don't care until you unfollow me or you tell me to F off. Like I'm going to be in your inbox because this changed my life and I want it to change yours. And it's all mindset when it comes to that, right? Like I could second guess myself. I could be like, oh, I just don't know if they're going to want me to do that. But who is that serving? Nobody. That's not going to help me grow, and that's not going to help them find that next result. So I just have to go into it as like, I'm doing this because I want to help them, not because, oh, I don't want to be icky or I awkward or I'd be offended. Like I'm doing this because I know it's going to work for you. But yeah, we're just kind of in control of the conversations that we're having. We're in control of what our social media has, but we can't control if they sign up. So take the tools and the resources and run with it and see what happens. To me, the best compliment I can get is that you inspire me so much. I don't care if they don't sign up, but if they keep coming to my page because they want motivation and they're excited that I get to inspire them, that is the biggest compliment that I can ever get. So, if you guys have any questions, 4 minutes. I was trying not to like go speed racer, but like at least leave some time if you guys have any questions. Is that helpful?
Very helpful. I have like 3 pages of notes.
Okay,
So thank you
teacher.
so well. There's my other teacher in the corner, Tabitha. She goes,
Yeah, I
thank
could
you so
tell.
much. Like, I really appreciate it. And if you guys do have any questions that you think of later, send them to me and I can send them over, and I'm sure she would answer them. But
Yes,
thank
of
you so
course.
much, everyone. And have
Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Sweet. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'll text you the apps and then you can share them.
yeah, I'll just do that and I'll post the recording so that way everybody can see that as well. So,
Perfect. Well, thank you guys.